Hey, Survivor fans, I have some exciting news to share. Survivor's going back into production. Fiji has invited us back to their beautiful country to shoot season 41. We have all of our COVID protocols in place so that everybody in Fiji will remain safe, all of our crew will be safe, and of course, our players will be safe. And I gotta tell you, I can't remember a time I've been this pumped to shoot Survivor, and I'll tell you why. The past year has reminded me, and I hope it's reminded you, that you gotta live your life like it's one big, great adventure, and Survivor fulfills that. So I am thrilled to say, I will see you on the island for Survivor 41. Let's do it!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Soul Survivor podcast. I'm Dylan Bird here again with my co-host Ryan Winthrop. Great to be back talking about Survivor. A couple of weeks ago, we got that clip that I just played from Jeff. It was absolutely great to see. It's great to see that they're out there as we speak right now, probably about to start filming, if not already started filming season 41. So great, to have that. So we figured, let's hop back on. Let's just talk about some of our predictions for season 41. What do we think that the season could look like in terms of themes, in terms of tribes, in terms of advantages? I know we've spoke about this loosely in past podcasts because we've had a long off season, but now I think we could really focus in on it. We could see that Survivor 41 probably has started filming already or is filming as we speak. And if not, then they're probably set to film within the next couple of weeks. What's up, Ryan? It's good to be back.
Let's do it. No, I'm excited to be back, Dylan. I think we're coming down the stretch in terms of finding out more about season 41, which we have been waiting for earnestly since, May of last year. Obviously, we won't see it on TV probably until the fall, probably, September or whatnot. But it's good that the cast and crew are out there in Fiji. They've gotten through their quarantine. They will begin filming very soon, if not already, like you mentioned. So I'm just very excited to hear some of the inklings of, the tribes, the themes, the twists. Just, it's exciting that Survivor season is coming back.
Yeah, I completely agree. Just so much to look forward to. And I assume, like you told me, we were talking before we went on here, you think we'll get some information pretty soon. I agree with you. I think that there is going to be some sort of cast leak, or no, I shouldn't say cast leak, possibly cast leak, but I should say theme leak for sure. That we'll probably find out. But let's start off by talking about the theme. Do we think that this season's theme, Survivor Season 41, we know it's going to be all new cast members. Is it going to be a repeat theme? For example, are we going to get Heroes, Healers, Hustlers Part 2? Are we going to get another theme that we've seen, recently, David versus Goliath 2? Or are we going to get a completely new theme? What do we think here?
So, I mean, I hate to give like a kind of a non-answer, but it could really be one of two things. It could either be some type of theme that we haven't thought of yet, and we could say, wow, I can't believe we haven't had that in 41 seasons. We could see a brand new type of idea come out there onto the island. Or like we had mentioned in our last video, it could probably be something akin to like a Millennials Gen X 2 or David versus Goliath 2. Those are two seasons that are in the 30s that are new players and popular, and they might go back to the well for those. So I do think that those are entirely possible, and we do know that it'll be all new cast members. But there's no way the show will go to like a back to basics. I know some people out there on Reddit really want a back to basics season, but it's just not in the cards. Survivor has evolved. The gameplay and the strategy has gotten so fast, you can't really revert back. So I do think it'll either be a brand new theme or a sequel to like a Millennials or like a David vs. Goliath, but with some type of theme or twist in there, whether that be fire tokens or some other type of gameplay element. So we could see a couple different things here, but as soon as it gets leaked, we will be covering it.
Yeah, my thoughts right now is that I think that it's going to be a completely new theme that we've never seen before. My reasoning because of this is because we've had a year off. You feel like Survivor's about to enter a new type of era. I don't think that they're going to go back to a theme that they've already had before. Not saying they're going to do that in the future, because I do expect us to see David Goliath Part 2, for example, in the future. I just don't think in the first season back from this huge hiatus, they're going to go with a repeat theme. I think they're going to do something new, something to try to draw people in a little bit. There are a lot of new fans out there, so I think that they'll do something a little bit new, maybe trying to cater to this new fan base. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I think it's extremely hard to speculate. You could come up with a million ideas, but my guess right now is that we're going to see a theme that we have not seen before.
Yeah, I could completely see that. It really is entirely possible, and I'm actually leaning more towards your side of it. Regardless of the theme, Dylan, I wanted to ask you, in terms of like the tribe format, how do you think the tribes will be broken down, 2 versus 3, and how many swaps you think we'll get before the merge?
I think It's interesting. So I think that this season, and this is what I was thinking about before we did, I think this season is going to be heavily based on, people's stories. I think that we've seen very heavy strategy the last few years, and people have been asking for more like personal moments. And Winners Award did a very good job with this, kind of combining both strategy and personal moments. Something that other seasons in the past in the 30s haven't done as well. That people have complained that it's very like game body and not as many personal moments. Winners Award did a really good job with that. I think everybody, coming out of this pandemic went through a pretty tough time. I think that we hear a lot of personal stories. And I think it'll be really interesting to hear because everyone has a different story about how the pandemic affected them. And I think that's going to be a big part of everything. That being said, going back to your question about tribes, usually when there's 3 tribes, you have less time, yet less camera time on each individual person, which is why I think they do 2 tribes. I think it's just easier for them to reach more people in terms of the camera.
I completely agree with that. And I do think that the best seasons are the ones that blend perfectly both the gameplay elements and also, the personal character moments. And we get to see people's stories. We give airtime to everybody and we see big gameplay moves being made. I really think that that's what makes a really great season. And I feel like if I had to predict what I think will happen, and it's also what I want to happen, is the right blend of how to do a tribe format before the merge, I think is how they did it in both David versus Goliath and Millennials Gen X, where you start with 2 tribes, you get through about 3 or 4 tribal councils with those 2 tribes, and then you split into 3. I mean, I personally think 2 tribes is better, but I know the show has really dug deep into the 3 tribe format because I think it, really shakes up the gameplay, which I know Jeff and the producers love to see a lot of random elements go into it. So I do think we will go from 2 to 3. And then I would hope from those 3 tribes, we then merge at a later point. I think when you do basically like a Game Changers or even Winners at War, like a 2-3-2 or 2-3-3, when you do too many swaps, I think for casual viewers, they usually forget what tribes people are on. I even think of like Ghost Island. Ghost Island, you have the premiere where we lose Gonzalez and Jacob Derwin in the 2-hour premiere, and then right away in the next episode we're swapping, and it's like I don't even know who's on Malolo, who's on Navidia. It's just way too quick to figure out. So I feel like the best formula is you start with 2 for a few episodes, go to 3, stick with that until the merge.
I think that'd be the best way to do it. Personally, I agree with you. There are times where I have no idea who's on each tribe. I kind of just have to pick it up as we go along and talk about it on the podcast and stuff. Like there's nothing like when we do a recap podcast, there'd be a complete tribe swap. We're just sitting here trying to figure out who's on each tribe. I think you could do that once. You establish the characters, you establish the tribes, 2 tribes. We get to know each tribe very well, go through a couple episodes, three episodes, maybe 4 vote outs. And then you switch it over to 3 tribes and then you go from there and then until you hit the merge. I think that probably is the best way to do it. Now let's think about it in terms of advantages or other things that we're going to see in a new season. What do you think? It could be anything from advantages to just new things in the game, fire tokens, stuff like that. What do you think we're going to see? What do you think we're not going to see? I want to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so we've covered this a bit in the offseason. I can't remember where we've covered it because it's been a long, drought of an offseason. But we have said that, and we know for a fact there will not be any Edge of Extinction for the near future. Jeff has heard the audience feedback. I think it was a great idea to try. I don't think it landed well, the second time, just because of how it affects, the core of what Survivor is in terms of gameplay. So Jeff has gone on record saying it won't be back for a bit. I can't promise, unfortunately, that EOE will be gone forever. I can predict that maybe in the later 40s, mid 40s, we could see it make a return in some updated format. But we know for a good time, at least for the next few seasons, we won't see it. So that's gone. Fire tokens, I think it got a really good reception. I think the winners who obviously know how to play the game, they showed us how it can be used. But the game bots and the fans out there have already thought about a million different ways to make it even more complex, playing more 4D chess to make sure that their moves land better. So I feel like we could see fire tokens still in 41. It would not surprise me, though, if they wait a season. Maybe like give us fire tokens back in 42. Let's just get back to more of like a vanilla Survivor with idols advantages in 41. But I think either a 41 or 42 will have fire tokens.
Yeah, I think 41 will have fire tokens. If I had to guess, I think the fire tokens will have a larger payoff at the end. Maybe fire tokens at the end could allow you to have a 10-minute, or that's 10 minutes is a long time. I'll say 5-minute head start in an immunity challenge, or 5-minute head start in a fire making challenge in the final four, or time to practice the immunity challenge. We've seen that before as an advantage. I think whoever has the most, there has to be some kind of incentive to get fire tokens. Again, we've went over this a bunch of times in the off season. We've went over it a bunch of times during actual Winners at War recasts, which feels like forever ago at this point. And it kind of was. It was like a year ago at this point, which is crazy. Yeah. And just so happy that everyone who's watching right now is still watching a year later. No Survivor. Great to see the loyalty out there. So thank you once again. But yeah, I think we will see fire tokens. I think they're going to be a significant part of the game. I think the next legend, or I don't even want to say legend, but next person that is going to make a profound impact on the game will be somebody who figures out something with fire tokens that we would have never thought of, or we haven't thought of yet, that somebody's going to do in the game to make everyone be like, wow, that was a genius move. That's going to happen in future seasons with the fire tokens. So I think fire tokens are going to play a major role. And now I think fire tokens also play a major role in terms of what advantages there are. People are going to be buying advantages possibly. We've mentioned the flip a coin thing possibly happening again, just because it was very exciting. It was kind of anticlimactic when it happened in the Winners at War season, but I think that could return. We have Solomon in the chat here. Thank you, Solomon, once again for being in here. He says the fire token menu has to change from last season. Yeah, we didn't get a huge look at that at Winners at Wars, like more so like people like screenshotting it and taking pictures of it from when it was shown for 3 seconds on the TV and trying to figure it out. Apparently, a lot of these fire tokens were used on luxury items that we never even heard about in the show. I think that we as viewers should know a lot. If fire tokens are going to continually be in the show, we should know how every single one is being used. So even if they put 10, 20 seconds of just somebody being like, all right, I'm using these fire tokens on whatever luxury item, we should be able to see it so that we could keep track of it as viewers, as podcasters. Yeah. But yeah, I think fire tokens will play a big role. Advantages, I expect something like extortion to be back with the fire tokens, but I expect there to be more advantages that like tie into the fire tokens, as fire tokens I think will play a bigger role in the show.
Yeah. Speaking of advantages and twists from Winners at War, do you think that we could see the Adam Klein of it all, the going an idol hidden at Tribal as soon as 41, or you think that's a few seasons down the road?
I think it's directly in 41, and you'll see. I knew we were going to talk about this. I put Adam in the thumbnail for the video.
I didn't even see the thumbnail yet.
Yeah, so. it's up in the video. I have Adam's face in the thumbnail, him and Jeff, and I think that is the reason. I think we see something crazy at Tribal, whether it be hidden behind the voting booth when people vote, whether it be hidden on some archway when people vote to walk under, whether it be hidden under one of the seats at Tribal. I think there will be an idol at Tribal. I think that there's no question about that. Anybody who goes into the game needs to be expecting that. Like, you cannot go into this game in season 41 as a new player and not be looking everywhere at Tribal for immunity idol. I think that's guaranteed, in my opinion. I would be very shocked if it's not there.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to bring up, since Tyler put a question in the chat as well, we are also answering Q&As tonight. So in addition to some 41 speculation, as always, we will be doing some audience Q&A questions. So if you have any questions or comments, put them in the chat and we will get to them. I think we also have one on Twitter that we'll cover later in the show as well, but just keep them coming and we'll answer them as we go.
Yeah, for sure. Throw those questions in the chat. Can't wait till we have these streams hopping again once we hit the actual season. It's gonna be great. I think I have some other predictions for our podcast in the future. If we're going to talk about it for season 41, but I have a feeling that we could be getting a former third podcaster back on the show for season 31 to go along and co-host with both of us. You guys might or might not be familiar with him from previous seasons. I also think that we could possibly add some new content onto the channel as well. Besides these recaps, I think we can maybe add one more video as well during the week. Possibly this is something we spoke about in the past, so we'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, a lot of new stuff that's going to come for season 41, aside from possibly new stuff in the game. I'm excited to take our content to the next level. You know, we were just getting started and then we just boom, cut off.
You didn't tell me that Dominic Abate was going to be our third co-host again.
I wish.
This is news to me.
I wish.
If only. So, Dylan, I also want to ask you in 41. So I think we talked about this before, but we feel like we're definitely going to see likely 20 players. The only way we would get 18 is if we start with tribes of 3. But I think we're both thinking that we might start with tribes of 2. So we're predicting a 20-person cast.
Yeah, I think 20 people for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ooh. Let's see. I see a couple of good questions in the chat. Do you want to start answering them?
I feel like we touched on a lot of things in terms of season 41 speculation. I mean, we haven't got a lot of info yet at all, except for that Jeff message. So there's not much more we could speculate on. Once we get the actual theme, we'll be able to. Once we potentially get a leaked cast, maybe we could speculate on some things. You mentioned in the past that possibly they could be pulling people from, maybe you get a Big Brother personality that, or former contestant there that goes on Survivor. I don't watch Big Brother, but I know you would know that better than me. So curious to know. But anyway, once we get some more leaked info, whether it's cast, tribes, we'll be able to talk more about it and speculate more. But let's get right to the questions right now. I think that was a good time. From Solomon here, will we ever get more than 1 hour episodes? I'm going to guess that because of CBS, you'll probably just continue to get, a couple of 2 hour episodes per season. And I think it's going to stay the same.
Yeah, usually, I mean, obviously the premiere, sometimes they do a 1 hour premiere, but they know that people want to see a bit more in the opening episode. I feel like you could see like an hour and a half, 2 hour premiere, obviously the 2 hour finale. And then I feel like in past recent seasons, maybe there was like 1 or 2 times they had like a 2 hour episode around the early mid merge. So we could see it again. But like Dylan mentioned, you're going to likely get 1 hour episodes, sans the premiere and the finale.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see. Okay, so from Tyler here. Survivor Canada versus America could be a good theme, as it's also not super complicated or forced coming from a Canadian. Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's possible we could get something like that. But my guess is that it would be more so like, I think it would be US based. Like I think it would be a regional type thing where it would be like North versus South, or like regions like North. Maybe they even do something crazy like 4 tribes of 5 to start out and go like Northwest, Northeast, Southeast, Southwest, or something like that. I think you really get a blend of people, from those regions. Obviously, culture is different in every region of the country. So I think if you blend a lot of that, that kind of diversity together, it would really make for some good content, great season.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
I was just going to say, speaking of Canada, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, in case people forgot, the first Canadian on US Survivor was Tom from season 39, Islands of the Idols. Tom was a former NHL hockey player. I think Tom Laidlaw was his name. I'm not sure what team he played for. I'm not a big hockey guy, but yeah, I think this opens the door now that we've had Tom on the show. We could see a lot more Canadians both applying and getting onto the show, and I'm all for it. I again, like Dylan mentioned, I did used to watch Big Brother. I haven't seen Big Brother in a while. But I also back in the day used to watch a little bit of Big Brother Canada. So I know that there are a lot of game players that play these types of shows in Canada as well. So I'd be curious to see if, more come on to US Survivor.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think that if we're going to see a regional thing, my guess is that's not the immediate season once we get back, but I think we could see it in the 40s at some point. Solomon says old school versus new school draft, no winners. Yeah, we kind of left off with the casting drafts and we never resumed them. It was just because we did so many in a row. I didn't want to overdo it, but I think it's been enough time. It's been definitely 6 months since we've done one. So I think that it's possible we could, maybe bring one back in a couple of weeks. I would be down for that. Yeah.
Is this Dylan? Is this Solomon's question from Twitter as well? Because we have Solo at Crowmy Solo on Twitter. Is this the same?
Yeah, I believe it is. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I'm down to bring back the casting drafts. I know we took a break from them because we had done, I think we did like 8 in a row. So we wanted to shake up the content a bit as the offseason went on. But obviously, if everybody wants to see more drafts, we are more than happy to bring them back as we approach 41.
Yeah, completely agree. All right, from Solomon as well. Will we ever do a seasons rankings? My guess is yes. I didn't want to. So the thing is that if we wanted to this season, this off season has been so long that we could have done any content we wanted to. But I want to save some content for when we have it for other off seasons. That's the thing. So that's what I say about that. But yeah,
I love a lot of the Survivor seasons. I am 100% down to do a ranking in the future. I've mentioned this on the show before, but I've actually been following along with Rob as a podcast's season rankings. He's doing that during this offseason right now. And actually, I recently did, Dylan, get Paramount Plus. So I have been rewatching old seasons. I've been trying to follow along week to week with their rankings, and it's tough. I mean, I would then need to watch a new season every week, which I feel like is very time consuming.
Yeah.
But I try to, binge through it and get the whole season done so I can keep up with the recaps that they do every Wednesday. And then he updates the rankings. But actually, if anybody has any questions about this, I just rewatched Guatemala for the first time in years. So if anybody has any Guatemala questions, feel free to send them in as well. But yeah, no, I think it's great. I think the season rankings also would encourage the viewers, but also us to, revisit some seasons that we haven't seen in a long time. And it's just going to make it even more exciting when Survivor comes back.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Any guesses on color of the buffs? Also, question from Solomon. Color of the buffs. Okay, so let's think here. So we had like red, blue, and then red, blue. Like we had red, blue open up Winners at War, and then the other one before that, Island of the Idols, was what, purple, orange, and then we had 38 where it was three tribes, purple, green, orange. Let me know if I hit a point where I forget here, because I'm actually all right. David Goliath is the point where I forget what it was to start off.
It was orange purple.
Orange purple. So they've been doing a lot of orange purple lately. So I'm thinking they're going to go away from that. I could see another red blue. Honestly, I think it's simple, but I could see another red blue.
It honestly, and this is going to make me sound crazy, it usually switches every season. Like usually back to back, it goes like red blue or like red blue yellow, then orange purple, then like red blue yellow or green possibly, then orange purple. It really does flip back like every season. I know. Listen, I thought Cambodia was cool. Cambodia had like a teal for Takeo, and then it was not maroon. What was it, like
a pink purple,
like
type?
a pink magenta for Bayon. So I mean, I would love to see them switch it up. I'll just guess orange and purple to make it simple.
Yeah, I think either one. Who knows? We don't know. But okay. From Tyler, do you guys think Survivor will ever reach a point where it needs to end? My short theory and statement on this is no. As long as Survivor has the viewership it does, as long as Survivor has the viewership that it does, it's going to make CBS money. So there will be incentive to keep it going. There's always new people that want to play, so I don't think that's a problem. And if CBS, for whatever reason, just decided they wanted to drop the show, then it would be picked up by another station. So I don't think it will. Yeah,
I mean, listen, my short answer to this is we have no idea. Like, I still remember when I saw some early Jeff interviews back in the day where I think that at the time they were around like Heroes versus Villains, and someone was saying to him, do you ever think you would get to your 20th season? And Jeff revealed that one time he ran into, like Mark Burnett, in CBS, and Jeff was like, Mark, I guess we'll be lucky if we make it past like season 3 or 4 or 6. And then Mark was like, I'll see you on season 21, Probst. And he's like, that's not going to happen. And I think we all said as fans, oh, we love Survivor, but it's not going to make it to 30. Then we got to 30. Oh, it's not going to hit 40. And then we got to 40. So I would say we're not going to hit 50. There's no way we're going to get to a silver anniversary of Survivor, but anything is possible, honestly.
All right. So question for Ryan now in Guatemala.
Yeah, there we go.
Are players allowed to go to each other's camps pre-merge, like for Danny's birthday party in Guatemala?
So just to give a bit of backstory, since this is fresh in my mind, basically one of the tribe rewards in a challenge was a swimming pool, because when you're in Guatemala, the lake or the body of water is infested with crocodiles. So that's one of the seasons where they could not go swimming, or they could not like hose off after a challenge. So they would like need to take some water and just like pour it over themselves, because you really couldn't go swimming in the water. And Guatemala was hot. I actually, side note, Guatemala, I think, is a very underrated season, and I thought it was one of the coolest locations to film in the Mayan ruins and the temples. It wasn't the best for strategy. Strategy was like decent, but it had some amazing characters, some big blind sides, and I think Rob's rankings had it at like 27, but I feel like you could call this like a hot, early 20s, late teens. It's a decent season. I think it gets underrated a lot. It gets forgot. It falls in between Palau, which I feel like people remember Palau for how much of a decimation it was, and then Panama with Suri. So I feel like Guatemala gets forgotten, but it's good. But anyway, back to Solomon's question. So Dylan, they got a swimming pool so that they could attach it to their dock and they can go swimming, actually. And one of the days was Danny was the winner, her birthday. And they actually rafted over to the other tribe and said, hey, come over for a pool party, just to, celebrate. My guess is not anymore. I feel like people are, so invested in the game nowadays that they wouldn't want to invite the other tribes over. I could see it maybe happening, but I think it'd be pretty cool to see, some tribes invite each other over to share in the reward.
I think a lot of people mentioned like the one world twist was a cool twist. It was just like done on the wrong season. You know what I mean? Like where the cast wasn't great. But I think that kind of thing could possibly be a twist in future seasons. I could see it, where both tribes combine for some kind of activity. That'd be interesting. All right, we got from JPB Productions here. What are your predictions for the title of season 41? So without us knowing the theme or even being able to predict the theme, because there's so many possibilities, I don't think I could come up with a title. But like I said, I expect season 41 to be a theme that we've never seen before. What they'll probably do is like what they normally do. They'll probably take some kind of combination of jobs / background, and put together for tribes. I'm not really sure. I don't think. Now, obviously, everyone's speculating that it's going to be an age type thing because they asked younger people to apply. I think personally, they're just trying to get younger fans involved in the show. That's why they're trying to get people to apply. But we could see an age thing again.
Yeah, I mean, in the last few years, I feel like we need like a season title like randomizer where you click a randomizer button and it gives you like a random theme. I feel like that would be a better guess than what we could come up with. But I feel like in the last few seasons, we see either like versus. So you have David versus Goliath. You have here. Side note, does anybody even say Triple H anymore? It's Triple H. I don't think anyone calls it heroes versus healers versus hustlers. It's such a complete mouthful. I just call it Triple H. But we had that, David versus Goliath, Millennials versus Gen X. So my guess is we could see maybe a versus in there possibly. Or you have, Islands of the Idols. You have Ghost Island. I could see some type of island name. Those are my two guesses.
Yeah, I think all those are pretty good guesses. So that is it for questions tonight as of now. If you have any more questions, we got some more time, so you could throw them in the chat. But anything else you wanted to touch on, Ryan, tonight?
I just wanted to highlight Solomon's last point because I do think we need to bring back some people from Guatemala. Like I was saying, it's a season that has a lot of great characters that I think it's just because it is forgotten that they don't come back a lot. But, Rafe is a really underrated player in Guatemala. If he didn't, make that mistake at the end, I really do think that he could have won that season. Judd is one of the most entertaining TV characters from Survivor. And Brian is kind of like the Kelly Wentworth of, if only he could come, he went pre-merge, but if only he could come back and play again, he could really do some damage. So those are three people at Solomon I really would love to see back at some point.
Yep. Yeah, I don't have anything else that I have in mind to talk about tonight. But I'm looking forward to rewatching some seasons. You're talking about old seasons. I personally have been a little bit busy. I haven't been able to get to some rewatches, but I'm, trying to get that in very soon. So it should be fun. And yeah, maybe the next podcast we do in a few weeks, it'll be another casting draft. I would completely do that. Be down to do that. I think Solomon gave us a pretty solid idea. We got that old school, new school idea that we had been floating around for a while and then never ended up getting around to it. So I'd be down to do that next time.
Yeah, no, I'm down to do another draft in the coming weeks. And then, like I had said earlier in the show, in case you missed it, if we ever hear of any official news or rumors or leaks about either the cast, the twists, the themes, anything that could really give us some, meat to sink our teeth into, we will definitely go live and cover that. But of course, until we do get that news, we still can provide random off-season coverage on different Survivor topics.
Yeah, I completely agree. Looking forward to getting some more news, but that's all we got for the show tonight. You want to do our I shouldn't say annual. I should say our episode closeout here, Ryan.
Yeah, no, we can do our episode close off. So thank you for joining us today. We got nothing else for you. So as always, grab your torches and head back to camp.
Good night.